Hey everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Tonight we're getting the reveal of the next set of new heroes to get introduced into the game in just a few short days. As usual, not looking at my screen, I have video pulled up right now. I'm going to hit play, I'm going to look up after the character splash so we can be surprised one at a time as the characters are revealed. So let's get started. Not even going to venture a guess because I have no idea who we're getting this time around. Absolutely no idea at all. Alright, I'll look up right about now. Oh, Windswept Youth. Actually, I don't know who this is. Asbel. Okay. Infantry Green Tome User. Graph Caliber. Moonbow Fury 4. Null Follow-Up 3. Speed Res 03. So is this going to be a Thracia banner? Okay, Villager of Ease. So it does look like it's going to be a Thracia banner. Ronan, Infantry Blue Bow User. Okay. Indignant Bow, Swift Stance 3, Joint Drive Speed. Alright. Looks like he's going to be an enemy phaser. What do we got next? Willful Princess. That is going to be Miranda. Okay, lots of infantry on this banner. So infantry, red tome user, Rotter Serpent Plus. That looks like a 4-star demote if I've ever seen one. So she's probably going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner here. And then we're getting the Lady of Loptr. This is going to be Sara? Yeah. So an infantry cleric as well. Heather Haley. Doing the voice. Kia Staff. Okay, so return plus. Ooh, alright. Getting some new new healer specific assists. I like the looks of that. Okay, Forest of the Sage. New story chapter. Are we going to get a free unit as well? Most likely. Let's go ahead and pause here real quick. Alright, so it looks like Regan's brother is there, but otherwise it doesn't look like we're getting a reveal of a free character here. Most like it's going to be in the game notices right now. If you take a look, it's probably over there. Whoever the free character is going to be. So starting on the 7th of January, probably going to be extending for the entire month. Most likely Miranda is going to be the 4-star focus unit as expected, and even color distribution across the banner itself. And I'm assuming that the rest of the trailer is talking about the whole sparking system. Yes. Okay, alright. The banner is called Shared Purpose. Pretty exciting. I have to admit that I personally don't have the biggest familiarity with Thracia, so I'm not totally familiar with these characters, but they look pretty neat, and so we're going to go ahead and rewind, take a closer look at their art as well as their skills to decide whether or not I think it's worth summoning for these characters. It is interesting that it's all infantry based, and I do like how Sara has not only a special cleric weapon, but also a new cleric based assist that looks to be inheritable. So let's rewind and take a closer look, shall we? Alright, new heroes join the battle. Windswept Youth, okay. And there's Asbel here. Again, infantry, green tome user. Wada Sachiko always doing a great job on the art. I like how he has this big billowing blue cloak behind him with a big giant hood as well. I like the pose that he's got with his fingers kind of playfully up with the wind magic just kind of swirling around it. He's bearing a whole lot of leg there. That's old school Fire Emblem for you. But yeah, he looks good. Looks good. Take it back, Thracia. Alright. So, okay, so here we've got Graph Caliber that is going to be a unique tome to him. 14 might weapon, accelerates special trigger cooldown count -1, so a killer/slaying effect. Effective against flying foes. If unit initiates combat, or if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants +5 to all stats, and neutralizes foes' bonuses during combat. So the fortifies, the rallies, the activated buffs on the enemy to their stat line will get neutralized. That's a short and sweet, very compact weapon that does a lot of really strong things. Killer Slaying effect is always solid. Effective against flying foes. Anytime you get effective damage on a weapon stacked on, it's never a bad thing. And then the very, very easy condition to meet of him either being player phasing and attacking or be within 2 space of an ally, which is an incredibly easy condition to meet. He gets a nice, neat +5 to all of his stats, and the neutralization of the enemy boosts can't be understated. That's very strong too. So very, very, very solid weapon overall. Moonbow for the special treats foes defense res as if reduced by 30% during combat. Fury 4 for the A slot, +4 to all stats, and after combat deals 8 damage to unit. Null follow-up 3 for the B slot, neutralizes effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks and effects that prevent units follow-up attacks during combat. Leads me to believe that he probably has some pretty good native speed if that's the case. Speed res Oath 3 for the C slot. At start of turn, if unit is adjacent to an ally, grant speed res +5 to unit for 1 turn. Again, in line with the whole notion that he has pretty good speed to be able to naturally double. And the res, because he doesn't have like a desperation or a doubling effect like that at all, the extra res is going to help him be a little bit more tanky when he doubles and has to tank a counterattack. So Asbel's kit is kind of an even-keeled all-rounder. There's nothing that's incredibly remarkable about his kit, but it feels solid. Like every element of it feels very balanced and solid. And Graph Caliber has a lot of effects on it, a lot of really great effects actually. But at the end of the day, it just feels balanced and solid, which again I think is just kind of the vision for Asbel here. He's just solid. Like Moonbow, solid. Fury 4, solid. Null follow-up 3, solid. Lets him do what he wants to do on both phases. Overall, very solid effects. So nice. Yeah. Comes equipped with some pretty good stuff. So there he is, his tunic kind of flapping in the breeze. He's got his book in hand, his arm outstretched. I do like the magical wind effects around him that just kind of swirl and pull the cape upwards. Pretty nice. Lots of momentum, lots of movement. All right. So Villager of Ease.
I'm confident in my skill with a bow.
So here's Ronan, Infantry Blue Archer. That is an interesting choice, I have to say. I like his overall design. I like the headband. I like how he's kind of dressed like a woodsman a bit, which makes a lot of sense since he is an archer. The quiver behind him, the shoulder pads. You know, he looks like he's all business. He looks like he's ready to go hunting.
I will try my best not to be a burden to you.
Okay. Let's see what he's got. So, Indignant Bow. It's a 14-might weapon, not going to be inheritable, exclusive to him. Effective against flying foes, grants res +3. If unit initiates combat or foes HP, is 100% at start of combat, grants attack +6 to unit and inflicts attack -6 on foe during combat. And also neutralizes penalties to units' attack and bonuses to foes' attack during combat. I see. Indignant Bow indeed. So it is a bow. It's always going to be effective against flying foes. Res +3 is an interesting choice. If foe initiates combat, so he's going to be an enemy phaser, as we saw kind of in the preview animation there, or if foe's HP is 100% at the start of combat. So oftentimes, before any battle engagements, the foes are going to have 100% HP, so that's a relatively easy condition to meet. We have seen with Christmas Bernie there being some ways of reducing your HP below the 100%, but it's not a common thing, at least not yet. We may see that more in the future, but for the time being, foes HP equal to 100% at the start of combat, relatively easy condition. And then, of course, anytime you enemy phase, no matter what, he's going to have this effect of getting attack +6, which is very solid, and attack -6 on the foe. Also neutralizing any penalties to Ronan's attack stat, as well as any bonuses to the foe's attack stat during combat. So essentially, it's pretty nice because that just makes him that much tankier, allows him to take a lot more on enemy phase. He's going to be tanking that hit since he is going to be an enemy phase unit, and because of that, he's going to more often than not have the advantage of the +6 attack, as well as decrease the enemy's ability to do damage to him. It makes a little bit more sense why he has the res +3. Rally Speed Res Plus grants Speed Res +6 to target ally for 1 turn. Swift Stance 3 for the A slot. If foe initiates combat, grants Speed Res +6 to unit during combat and inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack. So we're finally getting the Swift version of the Tier 4 stance skills. probably the least exciting, or one of the least exciting stance skills, just because it really is most effective on very specific characters. I feel like it's a little bit situational, and you need a character that can really take advantage and really wants all of the speed and res. So it's going to prevent him from getting doubled, for one thing. It's also going to increase his tankiness overall. Joint drive speed for the C slot grants speed +4 to allies within 2 spaces during combat. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants speed +4 to unit during combat. I personally think the joint drive skills are very strong, so this is a great addition to his kit. I mean, yeah, he looks fine. I think Ronan is going to accomplish what he set out to do, which is you're going to plant him in the danger zone, and he's going to tank incoming mage hits where they're going to rely on certain. I mean, the fact that he nullifies the activated buffs means that he's basically impervious to blade tomes. And then he's going to have probably some pretty decent speed, which is going to allow him to double on the counter attack. And the fact that his Indignant Bow is going to give him +6 attack is always solid. So it's a fine kit. I don't find it terribly exciting, but yeah, it's got some decent stuff. Okay, here he tanks this hit, 0 damage. And here he is coming right back at you. His bow looks massive here. I don't know, is that just me? It looks pretty huge. Maybe it's just the perspective. But it looks pretty ornate, actually. I would have expected from his like hunter adventurer aesthetic that his bow would be more utilitarian than that. It does have a pretty nice ornate design to it. But yeah, shooting a volley back. I do like how his stance is kind of firmly planted down, as opposed to a lot of the archer attacking animations that we see is kind of the action flying back flipping pose, and instead he's kind of grounded, which again I think fits with his overall design. So yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, Willful Princess. So this, again, is going to be the 4-star focus unit of the banner. We are getting Miranda. She is going to be an infantry red tome user. Art is done by Asatani Tomoyo, who always does an excellent job as usual. I actually really like the color palette of her design. You have the rich brown of her hair, and you have the vivid kind of vivacious green of the cloak that's behind her, as well as the jewel that's embedded in her headband. And then you have the clean, regal design of the outfit. It almost shimmers and shines a little bit like it's silky in the tresses near the bottom as it's kind of kicking up there. And I like her facial expression here too. She just looks very determined. I'm getting those vibes from her. She is willful after all, I suppose. Alright, so unfortunately, as willful as she is, this is her kit. So she's got Rotter Serpent Plus, which isn't bad. It's a 12 might weapon, 12 might red tome. If foe initiates combat and uses a ranged weapon, grants defense res +6 during combat. It's okay. Ardent Sacrifice for the assist, restores 10 HP to target ally. Unit loses 10 HP but cannot go below 1. Seal Attack res 2, inflicts attack res -5 on foe through its next action after combat. And Speed res gap 3. At start of turn, grants speed res +5 to ally with the highest speed plus res. Total for 1 turn excludes unit. So yeah, not a great kit. Rotter Serpent Plus, not a very exciting weapon. Ardent Sacrifice, frankly not that useful of an assist. Seal Attack res 2, a new dual seal skill, which they're trying to push, and quite frankly, they're better than the original wave of seal skills, but they're just not... They're not good enough, I feel, especially for the B slot. And then Speed Res Gap 3. The Gap skills are very niche. They're very situational, I think. You have to have specific goals in mind with your team composition in order to really fully utilize them. And frankly, they're not terribly exciting, especially the Speed Res version of them, I would say is probably not terribly remarkable. I will say that it probably pairs very well with Ronan, because Ronan does like having a lot of speed and res, and he's probably going to have a lot of speed and res. But beyond that, unfortunately, not terribly exciting here. Not a lot to get too excited about. Let's take a look at her art here. Okay. That is to say, except for the art, which I think honestly is pretty great. I mean, she's striking that pose. She has a very fierce expression on her face. I like that her hair is flowing back a little bit. You can get a better look at the tassels that are flowing off of her outfit, the cape flying behind her. Parts of her skirt are kicking up a little bit, so you get a view of her honey-colored leggings. Yeah, it's really nice. It is really nice. But otherwise, unfortunately, skill-wise, I don't think there's a ton to get excited about. Alright, so probably what's going to be the prize of the banner, here is Sara. She is going to be an infantry cleric. She has this gentle, almost like fairy tale-like demeanor to her, I feel. The long flowing hair extending way past her waist, all the way down to really her legs. Beautiful waves and curls in her purple hair. I love the detail and the cross-hatching of the golden elements of her dress. Looks really beautiful. I like how the outfit itself is shoulderless, and it kind of reveals that she has this kind of black bodysuit underneath as well. Her hair is awesome. I really like her hair. There's something about, I feel like there's something very modern about this art style. I feel maybe it's her face and the way the face is composed, but yeah, it looks great. Let's keep going and see what her skills are, because that's probably what I was most excited about as I was watching the trailer for the first time. Now that is a giant description. Kia Staff. So this is going to be her own unique staff, non-inheritable, 14 might, calculates damage from staff like other weapons, so it has a native wrathful effect. Very good. At start of turn, if penalty is active on any allies within 4 spaces of unit excluding unit, grants attack speed +6 to ally with the lowest HP among them for 1 turn, and neutralizes any penalty on that ally. If penalty is not active on any ally within 4 spaces of unit, targets ally with the lowest HP among them instead. Okay, that's interesting. So Wrathful effect, she's going to do some decent damage. At the start of a turn, her staff is basically going to look at all allies within 4 spaces, and it's going to take whatever unit has the lowest HP and give them a boost or a buff. So you can think about it almost as different brackets of allies, either those with penalties or those without penalties. Those with penalties, it'll look at those and take the lowest HP one of that and give that ally a buff. If there are no units or no allies in the penalty bracket, then it'll take any ally with the lowest HP and give them the boost. And the boost is essentially going to be attack speed +6 and neutralizing the effects of that penalty, which is very strong. So I don't love this weapon. I think it's situational. I think it'd work really well in certain team compositions if you're building your team around this effect. But ultimately, I think that at the end of the day, I don't love the fact that it's one of those HP threshold skills and it only targets one ally. I feel like it could have actually affected more than one ally and probably still been just fine from a balance perspective. That's just kind of my feel of it, and so it's a little bit limiting because again, it's only providing +6 to attack and speed, which is solid, don't get me wrong. Because you also have to bear in mind that the +6 to attack and speed is an activated buff, so it doesn't stack with other activated buffs like hones and rallies and things like that. So it's a little bit limiting in that capacity. The +6 is good, it's definitely solid, but again, you can't necessarily stack it. It's not like an in-combat buff. And then, in addition to that, I mean, neutralizing the penalty, that is probably the strongest element to this. But again, you don't have as much control because I feel like it's HP based. I suppose at least that because if a unit has lower HP, they're more likely to get afflicted by certain penalties. So there is that element to it. But overall, I feel like utility-wise, the Kia Staff could be a lot stronger and more useful than it is. Return Plus for the assist restores HP equal to 50% of unit's attack, minimum of 8 HP to target ally, and target ally moves to opposite side of unit. Okay. If ally cannot move to the target space or another ally or foe is occupying the space, ally will not move. Using this skill has no effect on special cooldown charge, and unit cannot gain EXP, SP. Okay, so we are getting, as opposed to the Rescue Plus, Return Plus, this is essentially the reposition version of the assist skill. I think these are great. I think these are going to be very useful and pretty critical for healers. Movement type and movement-based assists are so strong, and then coupling that with an actual heal effect is just great, and it opens up a lot of possibilities for healers on a team. So I think this is a great addition. Attack speed push 4 for the A slot, excellent choice. I think the push 4 skills are excellent A slot skills, especially for healers that are limited in their range of choices for the A slot. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack speed +7. After combat, if unit attacked, deals 5 damage to unit. Dazzling Staff 3 for the B slot. It's a natural pick for a cleric, of course. She has Wrathful already built into her weapon, so Dazzling for the B slot. Joint Drive Res for the C slot, grants Res +4 to allies within 2 spaces during combat. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants Res +4 to unit during combat as well. I was just talking about how I think the Joint Drive skills are excellent, and I think this is no exception. The Joint Drive Res is also going to be a great pick depending on the types of stats that you want to boost. So Sara has an array of actually really excellent skills. Return Plus is awesome. Attack Speed Push 4 is awesome. Dazzling Staff 3 is always useful if you are building and using clerics. And then Joint Drive Res is also very good. The Kia staff, I think, is kind of personally a little underwhelming. I think it could have done a lot more than what it actually does, but it's still going to be useful. I mean, it still has a useful effect nonetheless. And because of how prevalent their penalties are in all game modes, more often than not, your units or your allies are going to have some sort of penalty that they're not going to mind having neutralized. It's just going to have to be part of your overall strategy as part of your team composition to be aware of the HP levels of your units within 4 spaces of Sara, just because, especially if you're trying to utilize the full effects of the Kia staff. So let's keep going and take a look at her attacking art here. Whoops, I skipped it. It was very quick. Wow, I like how dynamic this art is. You have the skirt billowing, and then you have the hair that's kind of flying back. I like the perspective, how she's kind of pointing the staff towards us, a little askew, and you get a nice view of the staff itself. It's really pretty. You get a nice view of the blue jewel at the hook end of it, and I actually like the design of the staff itself. It feels very classic, rustic, I guess. Very I guess very nature and woodsy like. It's pretty minimalist in design. It looks like it was basically straight carved out of the wood and not much else, but it does kind of match her outfit too with the actual gold accents to it and the browns. So yeah, it looks really nice. I like this art. And nice beam of light. Ooh, that's pretty nice. It's a nice attacking animation. All right, so Forest of the Sage. That's going to be our new story chapter, which is pretty nice. And yeah, again, I don't think we're seeing anything new here as far as a character is concerned. So, once again, starting on the 7th in just a couple of days, and I suspect this is going to be lasting for an entire month. We'll get the FEH calendar before too long. So, I gotta say, after seeing all of the weapon effects and all of the skills that are available of these units, Banner's a little underwhelming. There's nothing that's, I think, terribly exciting about these. It's not anything that we haven't really seen before, other than Sara and her new healer assist, which I think has the potential to be very strong. Sara also comes with a lot of great skills too, and her art looks great. I think Sara has the most to offer as far as inheritance is concerned. She has a lot of great skills on her. I think her staff is pretty unique, even though I do feel like it's situational. Asbel probably has the next best skills on the banner. And then Miranda, of course, is the 4-star focus, so she's going to be a relatively easy plus 10 venture for folks out there. She's gonna come pretty willingly as the Willful princess, as the 4-star hero, although the color choices are also a little bit interesting. I mean, she's a red tome user, of which there is no shortage of red tome users. She is an enemy phase red tome user, but all the same, I feel like we don't really have a shortage of those. Ronan as an infantry blue bow user, again, I think that color ends up limiting his overall capability and utility and possibility. And honestly, I'm not in love with the skills that he has either. So yeah, I think for me personally, Sara is probably the prize of the banner, if for no other reason than the pedigree of skills that she has available for inheritance purposes. But otherwise, I don't really think that this is a banner that's worth summoning on, unless you're a big fan of the characters themselves. If you're a big fan of the characters themselves, it's always worth summoning for, in my personal opinion. But barring that, I don't feel like there's a ton that's really worth shooting for on this banner. These units are not going to be limited in any capacity. They are going to be dropping into the regular summon pool, so also bear that in mind. But let me know in the comments below if you're excited for this banner, for these characters, if you're excited for more Thracia representation, if you're going to be summoning on this banner, who you're going to be shooting for. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching and for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really, really do appreciate it. Certainly hoping you're all staying safe, healthy, secure, and united out there, and wishing the very, very best for you, your family, and your friends. And until next time, let's protect those skies.